Well, hello and welcome to Magnolia State Weather. This is not going to be our permanent live stream for the night. This is simply a 5:45 p.m. weather update across the state of Mississippi and the Florida parishes of Louisiana. And so let's make sure you can hear me right now. I'm just going to do a sound check real quick. Sounds like everything's working good. So if you're tuning in, let me know where you're tuning in from, what county or what parish in Louisiana, and we're going to go through this weather update for about the next probably 15 to 20 minutes. I'm not planning on being live for right now for the next several hours. However, I will be tuning in live here soon, probably around 6:30, 7 o'clock, for the weather that's going to begin moving into southwestern Mississippi and then into the Florida parishes of Louisiana and then the Pine Belt region and also up towards the I-20 corridor. So lots to talk about for right now. Really, to start, we right now have a tornado warning outside of the area that we cover, but this is an observed tornado warning out here in, this would be central Louisiana, outside of Marksville. Now, this is about 50 miles to the southwest of Natchez. So a little far away for right now. So gonna continue to watch this one and continue to watch these storms as they move into areas near Mississippi. Got that sun shining on me right now. It actually just came a flood here. So you've been seeing this probably all day across central and southern Mississippi. Some storms come through, drop some heavy rain, but then the sun's right back out. So the atmosphere still plenty of energy there to produce thunderstorms and severe weather later into the night and later into this afternoon. And so what you'll see here is, I mean, we only have one tornado warning, one severe thunderstorm warning here in Louisiana, but we'll look at the models here in a little bit. The models are suggesting that in the next few hours, this line is really going to strengthen. And according to the SPC, the Storm Prediction Center agrees with this, because if we look at the day one wind probabilities, and let me go ahead and add the opticity to these, you'll see that this is for damaging winds, which the Storm Prediction Center has a higher likelihood of damaging winds, severe winds. So this would be 60 plus miles an hour winds that we could see across portions of southwestern, central, the Pine Belt, southern Mississippi, and the Florida parishes of Louisiana. So the Storm Prediction Center is expecting these storms to strengthen here in the next few hours. So while they haven't looked great really all day, like North Mississippi did not really see much of anything with the slight risk they have seen today. It really looks like the worst weather today is going to end up being for that South Mississippi and the Florida parishes region there in that Mississippi-Louisiana bordering area. Sorry, trying to work in the wording for the Florida parishes there, because I can't just say Mississippi because we're also covering those few parishes in Louisiana. But overall, get ready for that damaging wind threat later tonight, because it does look like that line will strengthen. And we'll look at that here in just a second. Overall, still a slight risk for severe weather across most of Mississippi and the Florida parishes of Louisiana. You'll still see that yellow slight risk level 2 of 5. And so that's where we're sitting at right now. I'll get to that question here in just a second regarding Jones and Jasper County. I'll try to group all the questions near the end here in a few minutes. But overall, still a slight risk for severe weather. If we go ahead and we take a look at the tornado threat, I know that's what people care about. I mean, that tornado threat's still there. Overall, it's still low, but it's now a 5% risk for tornadoes across central, southern Mississippi, and the Florida parishes. So that 5% is still there. And so while that is still a low likelihood of tornadoes, one thing you'll notice is you see all these dashed lines in here. That means that this is a SIG 1 risk for tornadoes issued by the Storm Prediction Center. And so you might not know what that means, and really not a lot of meteorologists know what that means right now, because this is the new stuff that the Storm Prediction Center has brought out. Now you have SIG 1, SIG 2, and SIG 3 for tornado intensity. And so this is more of an intensity scale. So what this is basically telling you, this is what you need to know, is that the likelihood of tornadoes is still fairly low. Not very low, but I'd say low. But any tornado that forms, the Storm Prediction Center is expecting those tornadoes to potentially be strong, upwards to maybe EF2, EF3 strength. It's kind of hard to know exactly where these tornadoes will be in intensity, but any tornado that forms tonight could be strong. And so that's something else we are looking at tonight. And so I'll be up for most of the night. Who knows when I'll get to go to sleep tonight? But keeping you informed is what I care about. So that's what we have in terms of the severe weather risk across Mississippi right now and the Florida parishes. So we'll start looking at models. I'll actually go ahead and answer. I'll be able to answer that question regarding Jones and Jasper County here in a second when we look at the models. That'll really play into the timing here. So I'll bring this up. So this is a look at the HRRR model, excuse me. And so this is really going to show us what's going to happen in the next few hours. So if I pull up Epic Pen here, sorry, I got to pull up my pen. Okay. Sorry about this. There we go. So you'll still see that, like, the HRRR has picked up pretty good on, like, storms struggling here in Louisiana. So that's what we're seeing as of right now. Storms kind of struggling, but in the next hour or two is when that line is going to begin strengthening. So as we move forward several hours, as these storms begin to enter southwestern Mississippi, is going to be when that line is able to come together. And so you don't see it yet. This is at 9 p.m. By 9 p.m., the line's still kind of broken as it's entering southwestern Mississippi. But one thing I noticed, honestly, is some of these cells in here are looking like we could get that prefrontal supercell type look on some of these storms, where that's where we could see the potential for a strong tornado as we go into the night. And so this shows these storms really getting deep into southwestern Mississippi by about 9 p.m. This is when it's going to start reaching the Jackson area, probably around 8 to 9 p.m. And that line also entering central Mississippi as well. But then as we go a little farther, as we enter the, let's see, this would be 11 o'clock. As we enter the 11 o'clock hour, as this line begins to enter the Pine Belt region and basically the central portion of the Florida parishes in Louisiana, you have a well-defined line here, spanning all the way from the Gulf up into Alabama. And so as we go into the night, it might shift a little bit from a prefrontal supercell type look with some tornadoes possible over in southwestern Mississippi to a very strong squall line as we get into the Pine Belt regions, maybe as we get into that gap between the Pine Belt and southwestern Mississippi. The exact timing on when this is going to kind of strengthen is kind of unknown, but you can see, so this image right here is estimated for 11 p.m. But if we go back to 9 p.m., you'll see that line not looking as strong, but I promise you, there's definitely a potential for some tornadoes in here before this line really gets together. And so kind of take it with a grain of salt. This model shows that line coming together around 11 o'clock. But, I mean, I give or take 1 or 2 hours, we could see that line really strengthen closer to 9 o'clock, or maybe it doesn't strengthen till near 1 a.m. Really, we're going to have to wait and see. So for all of southern Mississippi and central Mississippi, be ready for this line to strengthen really quickly as it begins to move into the Magnolia state. But one thing I do know is that this line strengthening that quickly lines up with the Storm Prediction Center's assessment of damaging winds tonight. And so I'll go back and look at it again. You'll see that this red area here is where the Storm Prediction Center really thinks the highest odds of damaging winds are. And so you'll see how that line was strengthening as it got into southwestern Mississippi around 11 o'clock. The Storm Prediction Center agrees with that. And so that's why I do believe that we will see these storms really strengthen here in the next several hours. And so, like I said, the primary threat is damaging winds. So that's going to be straight line winds, 60 miles an hour or above. Really, it's 58 miles an hour, but you don't get a severe thunderstorm warning until those reach 60. So minimum of 60 mile an hour winds right there with these storms. And so this is going to be that squall line type of event, like we've been saying. So we'll go back to that. So for central Mississippi, for southern Mississippi, and for the Florida parishes of Louisiana, be ready for a squall line to move through. Unknown exactly how strong this will be, but be ready for a strong squall line to move through with damaging winds, with a tornado threat, and maybe some small hail in there. It's going to be late, But be prepared, have a weather radio on, have a way to get alerts on your phone. I will be live here on Magnolia State Weather on both Facebook and on YouTube, so you can look it up. I'll be live here ready to keep you covered and informed across central and southern Mississippi and the Florida parishes of Louisiana. Sorry, I keep forgetting that I have to include that in there. So that's what we're looking at 11 p.m. As we go towards midnight, that line really starting to get deep into the Pine Belt region. And by 1 a.m., that's reaching the coastal counties at this point, but really moving completely out of southwestern Mississippi and moving out of the Florida parishes by that moment. And so this will completely be out of our state by roughly, let's say, 4 a.m. So this is primarily a threat from about, I'd say maybe an hour from now. What is it? It's 6 o'clock. So this is primarily a threat across our area from 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. And so you'll have to give or take some change on that just because it's weather. You never know what's exactly going to happen. But while the radar does not look great on these storms over in Louisiana, they will be strengthening here very soon as they begin to move into southwestern Mississippi. So be prepared, be ready, have the weather radio on, have notifications on, have some way to get some notifications and to get woken up, because this line will move through and it looks like it will be a rambunctious line of storms. So be ready for that. I'm expecting at least a severe thunderstorm warning, or not warning, a severe thunderstorm watch to be issued tonight. We might see a tornado watch issued. It really depends, because how it works is they'll issue a severe thunderstorm watch if they're not really expecting too many tornadoes. However, if a tornado watch gets issued, know that a tornado watch is also a de facto severe thunderstorm watch. So if a tornado watch gets issued, know that tornadoes are a threat, but you cannot forget about that damaging wind threat. Damaging winds are definitely something to look at tonight. And so anyways, I'll start looking at these comments now. So if you want me to talk about your county, your parish, whatever it is, and get a timing on that, I'll let you know. So I saw Neshoba County. I can go ahead and tell you about Neshoba County right now. Overall, for now, you're clear. For the most part, the strong line's not expected to get to you until, I'd say, roughly 11 o'clock. Let me check that. That line's not really expected to get to you until, what is this? Roughly 10 o'clock. So I'd say anywhere from 9 to about 11 o'clock, expect the strong line to get there. You might be far enough north that maybe the line's not going to be the most intense it could be. But overall in Neshoba County, 9 to 11 o'clock is when you can expect that rough squall line to move through. Maybe a prefrontal supercell could get there and cause some problems before then. But overall, your highest threat's going to be in between that 9 to 11 p.m. range. And so that's what we're looking at there. You're just outside of the 30% damaging wind risk that the Storm Prediction Center has put out. But overall, still no, damaging winds is definitely your primary threat. But don't count out the chances for a spin-up tornado there in Neshoba County. Any other counties that wants a breakdown here real quick, go ahead and you can ask. Kind of looking at these storms that are over South Mississippi right now. Some of these are trying to rotate, honestly. So that'll be something to watch. I know I'm not planning on being live for right now, but as soon as one of these storms kind of gets their acts together, is when I'll be ready to go live. But I mean, like this storm over Lawrence County right now, packing some lightning and honestly, like a small amount of rotation, but I don't know if this storm's really mature enough yet to get going. New severe thunderstorm warning up in Ottawa County. This is for quarter-size hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds up there. For Winston County, I'd say Winston County is basically in the same boat as Neshoba County. Right now, you have some storms moving through. I don't know if this is going to be your primary risk today, because that squall line is still going to move through Winston County probably around 9 to 11 o'clock. But overall, you got some storms moving into Winston County right now. But that once these pass, that's still not your day done there in Winston County. Some small bits of rotation on these storms there, but overall, I mean, not even a severe thunderstorm warning on those for now, but definitely some heavy rain like we've seen throughout the day, some gusty winds and some lightning for now there in Winston County. But remember, that primary line is going to move through about 9 to 11 o'clock there. I have no clue when they would issue the severe thunderstorm watch or the tornado watch for tonight. But I can just about bet that we're gonna get some sort of some sort of severe thunderstorm watch or tornado watch across at least southern Mississippi and part of the Florida parishes of Louisiana. Um, I can't really know for sure, like exactly what they're thinking. Overall, I mean, today could have honestly went with only a slight risk across central southern Mississippi and parts of southern Alabama. I really don't think a slight risk was needed across northern Mississippi today. We haven't really seen storms do all that well today in northern Mississippi. But overall, it really looks like conditions are going to ramp up for the South Mississippi area and the Florida parishes. So if you have any questions about your specific location, go ahead and send those in. I'm doing kind of a question moment right now, a Q&A session type thing right here before I go off, before getting ready to really do our live stream later today, which is why I'm in a t-shirt. I'll get a little more dressed up for our live coverage later tonight. Really, I say later tonight. We're maybe only an hour away from that. But anyways, I mean, if there's um, nothing right now that you guys want to talk about in specific, I'm probably about to end the live stream. Looks like the tornado warning's gone there in Louisiana, so that's good. But definitely will be getting ready here very shortly to get ready for these storms moving into to move into southwestern Mississippi. Not in Smithdale right now. Do you think it would pass over us? I think no matter what, you're going to have some strong storms move over Smithdale. The real question is going to be is that squall line going to really be formed up by time it gets to Smithdale? I think it's a very good possibility. Overall, I would still act like you're going to go through the worst of it tonight there in Smithdale. Damaging winds over 60 miles an hour, tornado being possible. I wouldn't really worry about hail. I don't think we're going to see a big hail threat. But overall, definitely be ready for both of those risks. Watching from Covington County, that's good. No, we have a lot of people that watch from South Mississippi, and that's kind of why we're consolidating our viewing area. We're about to start giving a lot more hyper local forecasts. I was working on a system today. We're going to start doing like each region of Mississippi, going to do a breakdown of your forecast and the timing on that. So, like, we do a Southwest Mississippi breakdown, a Pine Belt breakdown, coastal Mississippi breakdown, Florida parishes breakdown, and just making sure we can get that to y'all. And that's going to include us cutting off the top portion of Mississippi, but we would still have central Mississippi, southern Mississippi, and then the Florida parishes down there. And so that's really to give a lot more hyper local stuff there. Watching from Warren County, I know you have storms kind of moving through right now, which for the most part, I don't know if conditions will be able to deteriorate too much there um, in Warren County. I know you're sitting at 65 degrees right now. Looks like luckily storms that have already gone through may have taken away a lot of the ingredients there. So, I mean, you're going to have some heavy rain and lightning throughout the rest of the evening, but really it's going to depend on what these storms are doing to the south of you um, for you there in Vicksburg. But anyways, I'd still be prepared for anything that could happen within the next few hours. Yeah, Warren County would still be in our viewing area, because I think what we would cut off is we would probably cut it off roughly at the Highway 82 corridor, not exactly sure. I would love to include the Golden Triangle considering that's where I'm living. So we'll see what we do with that. But overall, I mean, areas, um, at least including Yazoo City and Philadelphia, those would easily be included. Um, we're having some decisions we're having to be made right now regarding that because I cannot self-sustain starting a live stream all the way for northern Mississippi and then being live for 14 hours because I mean our state is tall. Um, so that's what we're seeing as of right now. But anyways, I'm gonna go get ready. Gonna get ready for the live stream later tonight. I would say expect me to go live anywhere from 7 to 7:30. I'll go live a little earlier if I need to, regarding a severe thunderstorm warning. We just got a new tornado warning. That's over there near Washington, D.C. But overall, I'll be live later. We'll have all our sky cams ready. Luckily, we have some new sky cams that we're going to have access to for at least portions of northern Mississippi. Got a little partner up with the North Mississippi Storm Chasers and got some stuff cleared up with them. So that's going to be good to have. But we're going to have a fun time tonight. Also going to have a safe one tonight. I want to make sure everyone gets out of here safe, gets out of this risk safe. But anyways, thank y'all for watching. This took roughly 20 minutes, but I'll be live around 7 to 7:30. So I hope all y'all are doing good, and I hope all y'all stay safe. I'll see y'all in a little while.